Hey, it's me, the anti-lawyer, and today we're going to talk about Andrew Tate, aka the top G, and his brother Tristan Tate, who were just arrested in Romania for human trafficking charges. And some text messages that Andrew Tate sent to a particular female have been released, along with a voicemail he left. I believe the same female, but we don't know. But obviously this evidence is going to be used against Andrew Tate, aka the top G, and his brother Tristan Tate in the human trafficking charges that they face stemming from their arrest in Romania. And what I'm going to do with this material, and we're going to review it, we're going to put it up on the screen. I'm not going to play the voicemail because I don't want YouTube to ban me, but we will put the transcript down here. We are going to redact words that people could find offensive for good reason. I don't think we need to replay those particular words. But what I'm going to do with this material is I'm going to pretend to be the criminal defense attorney defending the Tates and see how I would spin this particular material. And conversely, if I was the prosecutor, how would I argue the case to convict the Tates of human trafficking? Obviously, we don't know all of the information, and so some of my arguments are going to be based on stuff I think that might come out during the course of the case as the lawyers go through discovery, which is the fact-gathering process of a criminal case and honestly even a civil case. Let's get right into it, okay? So this first here, what we're gonna pop up is a series of text messages that Andrew Tate sent to a particular female. And the first one says, "I love bleeping you and watching you let me while still debating if it's a good idea or not." Okay, doesn't sound great, right? "When you're under my control, I do whatever I please." Okay, not horrible, but not great. "You were my blank when I had my hands on you." Okay, not a good look, right? Okay, so let's go to the voicemail, which I think is very problematic for them. I would also say that it is offensive, and I think it would offend most people. Again, why we won't replay it, but this is a transcript from that voicemail. And I'm gonna put it up here. I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but I'm gonna read the parts that I think are most pertinent. You could say the entire part is pertinent, and I would agree with that. But for time purposes, I'm gonna keep this a little short. So the first part here, "Am I a bad person? Because the more you didn't like it, the more I enjoyed it. I effing loved how much you hated it. It turned me on." No, not good, right? Like, why would you leave someone a voicemail like that? He goes on to say, "I'm one of the most dangerous men on this planet." I don't know why. Steven Seagal would probably have an issue with that. Not that I think Steven Seagal is a problem, but I mean, there's a lot more dangerous people on this planet than Andrew Tate, other than maybe just being a horrible human, because this stuff doesn't paint him in a good light. Okay, so here's another quote. "Would you rather me pin you down and make you do things you didn't like?" Okay, we're gonna talk about this. We're gonna break it down. And then finally, "Are you seriously so offended I strangled you a little bit? You didn't effing pass out. Chill the F out." Okay, so listen. Let's start with the defense. Let's start with the prosecution, because quite honestly, I believe it's easiest, right? The text messages here, "I love bleeping you." That's forcing someone to do something. That's what the word that we're bleeping. He's admitting in that statement that he committed a crime. If I was the prosecutor, that's what I would say. Listen, we don't have to prove anything, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Andrew Tate has done it for us with his own words. He says, "I love bleeping you." I mean, that's a crime. He's admitting to a crime right there. We got to hear what the defense has to say about that, but that's number one. "You were my blank when I had my hands on you." I don't think that's overly problematic. He's referring to, someone who's easy. He's using the slang word for that. So, I mean, not great look for him. Obviously, it doesn't paint him in a good color, but if I was the prosecution, I wouldn't focus on that. I would turn to this voicemail, right? And the first thing, "Because the more you didn't like it, the more I enjoyed it. How much you hated it turned me on." Okay, well, right there, Mr. Tate, you're admitting that the person that you were having intercourse with hated it. If someone hates it, it means they don't want it. If they don't want it, it means that you're forcing them to do something they don't want to do, which is in line with the human trafficking charges. The second quote, again, "I'm the most dangerous man on the planet." I mean, I just think that's the guy's stupid, right? You say that, you're stupid. So then the next quote, "Would you rather me pin you down and make you do things you didn't like?" Okay, if I was the prosecution, I'd probably stay away from that a little bit, because as far as arguing goes, because if this is in, it's all in, right? "Would you rather me pin you down and make you do things you didn't like?" I think that's going to provide an opening for the defense, but for the prosecution, you want to stay with it. Why? Because now it's kind of contradictory for what he was saying before about forcing her to do stuff. Like, "Would you rather me pin you down?" Meaning he did not have her pinned down before. That's why if I was the prosecution, I would stay away from it. "Are you seriously so offended I strangled you a little bit?" You didn't F and pass out. Okay, well, he's admitting to a crime right there, ladies and gentlemen. He's saying he strangled a human being. That's a criminal act. It also falls within the line of saying that he forced himself upon somebody if he is strangling them. So I think if I was the prosecution, at least from this evidence, because I'm sure there's other evidence that's going to come forward, if I was them, that's the stuff I would focus on. Okay, now if I was their defense lawyer, what would I say? Well, first of all, the general theme that they're going to push is this is all consensual. Some people like it rough. Some people use those words with no intention of actually committing them. But again, he's talking about past acts within this, right? Like they obviously had an experience together before he sent this message in voicemail. So if you're the defense, it's a little bit problematic. I mean, arguably, if someone was in the middle of such an activity, they might throw those words around for whatever particular reason. But to say them after, again, it's going to be hard for them, for the Tates, to spin that. But now we go to the voicemail, which I think is the most problematic thing for the Tates to deal with. He goes, "Am I a bad person? The more you didn't like it, the more I enjoyed it. I effing loved how much you hated it. It turned me on." Again, the only way you can spin that as their defense team is it's consensual. I mean, you just heard about that LA Dodgers pitcher, Trevor Bauer, right? A lady came forward saying that he forced himself on her. His response was it was all consensual. I think the criminal charges were dropped, but the guy will probably never play another pitcher inning in the MLB as a result of it. So again, it is out there that people are into S&M or whatever that is, and that's the way that they have to spin it. And then he goes, "Would you rather me pin you down and make you do things you didn't like?" Now that's a key piece for the defense, because you can say, "Would you rather me pin you down?" meaning I wasn't pinning you down. And "would you rather me pin you down?" meaning, like, it appears, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, from this statement, Mr. Tate is indicating that she was free to leave at any point in time. She was not pinned down. She was not held down. She was not forced to do anything against her will. By that statement, he's acknowledging the fact that, hey, listen, would you rather me do that? Because obviously she didn't like something that he did, but holding her down wasn't one of it, right? Or pinning her down, more accurately. And then finally, "Are you seriously so offended I strangled you a little bit and you didn't pass out? I thought you were cool," or whatever. Like, listen, again, the word on the street is the kids do that sometimes, right? During that particular activity, some people, I guess, want to be choked. So that's how you spin it, is you're like, listen, he didn't make her pass out, and they're probably going to bring in some sort of expert in the field of sexual intercourse, someone who's able to talk about this in a educational format, such as a university professor or someone who's published books on Kama Sutra or something like that. I think they're going to have to bring in an expert like that saying, hey, listen, this sort of banter back and forth is common with couples who are engaging in S&M activity. And I think if you get a qualified enough expert, then I think that really is going to help the defense. The problem that the defense is going to face is there's so much other video and audio out there from Andrew Tate saying very misogynistic things. And I think a lot of people before were giving him a pass on some of this because they thought, hey, listen, it's just a bunch of talk. He's just trying to get publicity for himself. He's just trying to make it on social media. But now when we see this stuff and you can Google this audio and hear it for yourself, it's clearly him. Anybody saying it's not him is garbage. And the defense isn't going to take that approach because I think they'd get murdered on it. All the prosecution has to do is they got to hire a voice expert to listen to this recording, have Andrew Tate say the exact words and or similar words and or signature words that are really hard for someone to copy from another person, and they would combat it with that particular expert. I think the defense's strongest suit is saying that this is S&M, this is consensual, rough intercourse that now the gal is trying to take advantage of by grabbing for some money. Andrew Tate is known for having millions of dollars. The Romanian police have already confiscated close to $4 million worth of his property. It's very well publicized. He has a lot of money. He's also made statements about that. So that's another angle I think that the defense is going to go, is this is a gal who got sour after a interaction with Mr. Tate. She knows people hold him out as a misogynist, so she's playing that angle. But I don't think even the best, even you bring in Johnny Cochran to this, I just don't think they're going to be able to get Tate off. Listen, the U.S. Embassy was also involved in the rest of Mr. Tate. These guys, they don't pick fights that they don't think they're going to win. Imagine this, if they arrest him and they don't have the evidence to back it up, and this is the only stuff that's been released right now. I guarantee they got mobs of more information on this dude, and likely I think what we're gonna hear is maybe not even a criminal trial. I think they're gonna end up probably pleading out because I think the evidence is overwhelming. So as always, I'm interested in your opinion. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment, share the video, hit the subscribe button. I appreciate the support as always.